A lizard keeps coming into my apartment. I wonder what type of lizard it is. This is North Teaches Science. We're in another edition of biology. This will be probably the last video about evolution in this series I am making. And I am Mr. Norris, and today I present to you Organization of Species. So the video goal is you can talk about the organization of species, but you can also use something called cladograms and dichotomous keys to organize those species. So one last thing about evolution. Sometimes it's not evolution that's at work. Something called genetic drift happens. This is when there's a change in the population due to chance, not nature. And this occurs in very small populations. So I'm thinking about, say, there's a whole bunch of bugs on the outside, and you just step down. They had no like no future seeingness that they could actually sense where the foot was going to land and not be in that path. It was a chance that they didn't get squashed. And so that could change a whole population because say you kill off all the blue beetles, and so there won't be any more blue beetles left. So it's all about chance, not nature. Now, species classification system, we do have 7 major classification levels, and the list goes from largest to smallest: kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. And so if we look at humans, we're in the family Amelia, and then we can go down mammalias, primates, hominids, Homo, and our species Homo sapiens. So if someone ever asks you what is the species name of an animal, you're looking for these 2 words. And usually this is based off Latin. Um, like a wolf is actually I don't remember a wolf. Never mind. Um, but if you go look up species name, you need to have both of them up there for it to be true because you have to have like the genus and then the species goes along with it. Um, Now, changes in species will change the classification system when we get new evidence. Now, one way we do organize organize species is something into something called a cladogram, or AKA phylogenetic trees. It shows evolutionary relationships between organisms, how closely they're related, and they branch off. So, on the right, you will see a cladogram. We read cladograms from bottom up, not top down, bottom up. So you read up here and you get to this little line. It said vertebrae. That means anything after this pink line will have a vertebrae. And then you have little branches off. This goes to a shark. Then we get to the next one, bony skeleton. The shark isn't after bony skeleton, so the sharks don't have bony skeletons. They actually don't have bones at all. They have cartilages. And then comes ray finned fish, and it just keeps going off. Then you get branches like here. It branches off, and this has hair, and you get primates and rodents and rabbits. The other one says eggs with shells. That means everything up here would have hair. Everything in this area would have eggs with shells. Think about it. Primates. We don't have eggs at all. Well, we have eggs, but they're inside of us, and they don't have shells. Neither do rodents and rabbits. So it just branches off. Reason why I'm going over that is because we're going to do some examples. I have another cladogram over here. Remember, we're going to read bottom up. And so the first question says, what trait separates lampreys from a tuna? So you're going to follow down and see what trait is in between them. And the trait that separates them are jaws. Lampreys don't have jaws. Tuna has jaws. Now, number 2, what separates a salamander from a turtle? So we look down. Here's salamander. Here's turtle. The trait that separates them is amniotic eggs. If I can spell today. All right. Third question, what organism is most related to the leopard? Here's the leopard. And we're trying to figure out what's most related to it. So we have to go back one. It's the one closest to it. The organism most related to a leopard is a turtle. Number 4, what traits do these two organisms share? So we're talking about the leopard and the turtle. So we're looking for what traits these two organisms share. That means we're going to go from bottom up until we get to the turtle line or the leopard line, which will be the turtle line. Anything between turtle and leopard, they won't share. So the first trait we see they have in common is right here. Reading from bottom up is the vertebral column, or that there's a vertebrae. The next one we see is jaws. They both have jaws. Next one we see, 4 walking legs. The last one we see is right here. It's the embryonic egg. We can't write hair because hair comes after the turtle line, and turtles don't have hair and leopards do. Which organisms will have the DNA most similar to a turtle? So we have a turtle. We need to go back one, and that would be the salamander. And which organism's DNA will differ the most from the leopard? So here's the leopard. Most different would be the thing that's the farthest from it. So we go all the way over. And the thing that's farthest from it is the lancelot. And that's reading a cladogram. Another way that we use organization is that we use a dichotomous key. And what happens here is we list characteristics organized in pairs and use it to identify objects or living things. So I have one example over here. This is a really quick example, a simple example. So we have this organism here. We don't know what it is. I know you're laughing at me. Yeah, I know what it is, but we're going to follow this. So we look at it. Feathers. Yes or no? Yes. So we go up here to yes. Then we have to look. Does it swim? Yes or no? Well, there's water. It swims. So yes. So we know that this thing is a duck. Now, dichotomous keys. Let's do an example. So we have bird W, X, Y, and Z. This is more kind of like what you would see in a scientific aspect. So let's look at bird W and let's try to identify it. Bird W. The first thing is the first questions are the beak is relatively long and slender, or the beak is relatively stout and heavy. If we look at it, it's not slender and it's not long. It's big and it's bulky. That's what stout and heavy is. That means we're going to go to question paired number 2. It says the bottom surface of the lower beak is flat and straight, or the bottom surface of the lower beak is curved. So the bottom surface of the lower beak right here, is it flat and straight, or is it curved? It looks flat and straight. So that we follow along and we get the name Geospetza. And that's that bird. All right, I'm going to do bird X now. Bird X, follow along. We go back up to number 1. Is the beak long and slender, or is it stout and heavy? It doesn't look long and slender. It looks big. It looks bulky. So it's stout and heavy. So we'll go to question number 2. The bottom surface of the lower beak is flat and straight, or the bottom surface of the lower beak is curved. This right here is curved. So it goes to question number 3. The lower edge of the upper beak has a distinct bend, or the lower edge of the upper beak is mostly flat. So let me change the color so you can see this. We're talking right here. That looks mainly flat. So if we look at flat, we get the name Pletsaspiza. Stop laughing at the fact that I can't say these names. All right, pause the video real quick. I want you to try bird Y and bird X. I mean bird Y and bird Z. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do this. I'm going to change my color again to purple. Hey, bird Y. We're going to look at the beak. Is it long and slender or stout and heavy? Well, it looks long and slender to me, so it's the first name we have. All right. Now at the limit right now, you can probably like, I know which one's left over. It's going to be bird Z, but let's go through it. So bird Z. Is it long as first question? Beak, long, slender, stout, and heavy. Looks stout and heavy to me. Go question number 2. Does the bottom surface of the lower beak flat and straight, or is it curved? Bottom surface look curved. Go to question 3. Is the lower edge of the upper beak have a distinct bend, or is it mostly flat? So if we look right here, it's got a bend to it. So it's the last name up there. And that would be using a dichotomous key. Dichotomous keys are really cool. You can use them to classify leaves from trees. I even in school have made a dichotomous key for candy. It's all up to teacher what you're going to do with them. But I really hope you learned something today. And this is Mr. Norris, and he is signing out for this video.